you alluded to the fact that with the image and the Ring camera, you know, the guy that came we all saw it a couple days later, but perhaps when President Trump had talked, he knew about that.
That's a good point.
And he inferred maybe there's some progress happening, and that gave me some hope.
Which those photographs and the video, Donna, I think exceeded all of our expectations, and especially the method of recovery, deeply encouraging and hopefully the breakthrough that investigators need.
Yeah, no question. The video is a big help. I also think, you know, we need law enforcement to continue to work together. As we know in investigations, usually there's forces on the state side. So even without the FBI, I mean, Josh is talking about 20,000 tips. You need help. You need as many people as you can. The frustration, Sandra, comes in from the fact that because she's still missing, you just don't have answers. Yeah. You know, when we need a lot of, or when there's more time that goes by in an investigation, usually we already either have a dead body or we know what happened, and so the amount of time doesn't seem as jarring and as real. But because we don't know where she is, this is really.
I still feel like, how do we not know how this person entered the house?
Right. And guys, okay, on the heels of Donna's incredible analysis that you've been hearing all day and every day, I'm so excited to announce her podcast, Crime and Justice with Donna Rotuno, debuts next Wednesday, February 18th. New episodes will drop twice weekly on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found. Donna will break down the biggest crime stories and trials across the country, tapping into legal and criminal experts along with Fox News reporters to uncover new angles surrounding the cases capturing the nation. We cannot wait for that. More Outnumbered in just a moment.
This little light of mine has been dark for quite some time. Then I let in the light to help see more of the light inside of me.
I needed more from my antidepressant, so my doctor added Caplyta, proven to provide greater relief from depression symptoms than an antidepressant alone, building on my progress without starting over. Weight gain and reported sexual side effects were not common.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Caplyta is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Call your doctor about new or sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, dry mouth, feeling tired, and diarrhea. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Caplyta.
Help see more of the light inside of me.
Mikhail, how far to the top?
The top is just an idea, Ron. The top is wherever you want it to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here today in Statesville, North Carolina, to honor and celebrate the sacrifices made by one of our nation's heroes, Burke County Deputy Sheriff Larry McCorkle.
Wow. Oh my God. This is amazing.
You never want to get that call or that knock on the door. You're always expecting for him to come back home just the way he went.
Oh my God. Wow.
But once we got to the hospital and realized that Larry was in a really bad accident and broke his neck, it was hard.
I get a phone call early one morning from the Tunnel Towers Foundation. Called me and wanted to do an interview. And she said, we're going to provide you and your family with a smart home. And at that time, I almost just passed out. I just couldn't believe it. With all the spam calls and scam and all that, it took her about 30 minutes or an hour to convince me that she was legit. And then once I got inside the home and just seeing the accessibility, it just blew me away.
But I thank God that he's here, and I definitely thank God for Tunnel Tower. They heard his story, which means someone's out there listening.
Wow. Oh. I always had compassion for other people, so I just always wanted to do public service. I love what I did, and I miss it very much, and I'm just very thankful and very appreciative and very honored that I'm by such a good gesture.
It's just so blessing because, hey, now my husband can wash dishes. No, I'm just kidding.
By giving $11 a month, you're joining us on our mission to do good. Visit T2T.org or call 1-844-BRAVEST.
A veteran who may have served in my time during the Vietnam era would be eligible today for a VA home loan. So many do not know that. There's no expiration date on your eligibility for the VA home loan. Every veteran, every service member out there, if you're thinking about buying a home, if you're thinking about a cash out refi, whatever you're thinking with a mortgage, you should come to New Day USA first.
Call now, 1-888-928-2089.
It's Saturday in America, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Tune in as voter ID moves to the Senate. I have Senator John Fetterman, Scott Pressler. Also, rare for someone of their party to call out someone else in their party. Rarer to sue members of your own party. A Democrat state auditor suing members of her own party over fund use in Massachusetts. And a woman who dealt with pain for 15 years. Then she prayed to Jesus, and the remarkable happened. A miracle tomorrow, Saturday in America.
We look forward to that. Thanks, Kaylee. Right now, Fox obtaining new information from the Pima County Sheriff in Arizona as the feds release identifying details about the suspect that they are tracking in the Nancy Guthrie mystery. Well, I'm John Roberts in Washington. It's Sandra. Oh, she's made it back up the elevator from the ground floor.
Maybe I took the stairs. You never know. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. This is America Reports. John, good to be with you. Investigators are now zeroing in on a key clue in this case, a specific backpack worn by the suspect. They now say it may have been purchased at a local Walmart. As agents chase fresh leads in this case, President Trump is weighing in.
Why hasn't the FBI taken over the Nancy Guthrie case as the lead investigator? Do you have any updates on how that's going?
Well, they took it over originally. You know, it was a local case originally, and they didn't want to let go of it, which is fine. It's up to them. It's really up to the community. But ultimately, when the FBI got involved, I think, progress has been made.
Correspondent Matt Finn is live in Tucson for us. He just got an update from the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos. Matt, did you learn anything from Chris?
Glove that was found.
Yeah, we got a lot of new information from the sheriff on the ground here, John. And, there's been a lot of sourcing and reporting that suggests that Sheriff Nanos' office and the FBI are not seeing eye to eye here on the ground. One of the sticking points, apparently the feds are not satisfied that the sheriff is continuing to send evidence to a private lab instead of sending it to Quantico. But the sheriff tells me that they've been using this private lab for decades. And once the case began here, they immediately started sending their evidence to that private lab, including DNA swabs from the Guthrie family. So the sheriff says it only makes sense to just keep sending everything to that private lab so that it can immediately check everything against the DNA swabs. Here is the sound from the sheriff on that matter.
Why split your evidence to two different labs? That could create a conflict, but more importantly, it adds that additional step. This lab has this piece, this has this piece. Now they've got to converge those two pieces to make an elimination or identification. No, just send it to one lab. Let's go. They're both great labs.
And the sheriff is praising the FBI on the ground here. He tells us that they are in the same command center together, sitting side by side, that they are making decisions in real time. Also, the sheriff tells me that there was not a glove recovered from Nancy Guthrie's house. Here is the sheriff on that.
Why split your evidence to two different labs? That could create a conflict, but more importantly, it adds that additional step. This lab has this piece, this has this piece. Now they've got to...
Do we have the glove sound or no? Okay, so I'm sorry, we didn't have that second soundbite cut in time. This is kind of some developing news, but the sheriff tells me that there was not a glove recovered from Nancy Guthrie's property. That was being reported based on some sourcing. That is critical because, of course, if you have one glove potentially from a suspect in the house, not only is that a key piece of evidence, you could compare that to other gloves that have been found. Also, the sheriff telling me on the ransom notes and the legitimacy of those notes, he can't comment on that because they're relying on the FBI for that information, and he points to that, saying we are relying on the FBI. They are better at some things than us as far as their technological equipment. They're better with the ransom notes. Also, the sheriff tells me as far as that Rio Rico, Arizona man who was briefly questioned and released the other day, he says that that man was, quote, in the area of Nancy's house. That combined with more than one other issue led them to this man. They questioned him and released him. This interview was very wide-ranging. We have a lot of information from the sheriff, and we hope to bring that to you throughout the day. John, Sandra.
Hey, Matt, I know that you're just putting all of this together, but I want to ask you specifically because all day it's been reported that there was a glove that had been found inside of Nancy Guthrie's house, which instead of being sent to the FBI crime lab was sent to a private lab in Florida. Are we saying now that the sheriff is saying that never happened?
Correct. He's saying that they did not find a glove in the house. He says they did not find a glove on the property. Now, is it possible the FBI did? That's possible, but I think the sheriff probably would have indicated to me if another agency found the glove. You know, and as far as the criticism of the sheriff that they left this crime scene too early, that they opened it up to the public too quickly, he says that is false. You know, on the topic of the glove, he says we got everything that we needed out of this house, and then we opened it. He does not think that's a mistake. He does not regret that decision. I also asked him about the blood on the front door. I said, you know, maybe should you guys have cleaned that up out of sanctity? He says that is not our role. You know, once we're done with the crime scene, we release it. And so he does not regret walking away from this scene, which some people say was too early, John.
Yeah, I think that that's quite common, that the crime scene is left for others to clean up after the police have gone. That's not their job to do it. So where does this leave us then? I guess just the gloves that were found at the side of the road yesterday.
30,000.
Yeah, and you know, the sheriff also says, look, he said we're finding gloves everywhere. He said they're getting calls as far north as Phoenix, which is a few-hour drive from here. So he emphasizes that they may not be prioritizing every glove that's found. Now, obviously, you know, there are teams scouring the areas. We have seen it every day. And so if you're looking for all types of evidence, you may find some disposed gloves on the side of the street. I'm told that we have the soundbite from the sheriff now on the glove not being found in the house, so let's play that.
Okay, so as far as the glove, you say it is not accurate. There's DNA in the house, but not the glove.
We never took the glove out of that house. We have DNA from various sources in the house. We knew that, but we knew that when we processed the scene that there was a chance to recover DNA. That has proven to be the case with our labs reporting back to us. But we have no glove. We never had a glove in that house.
Okay.
We never found glove on that property.
Yeah, and so the sheriff again is emphasizing that they found, you know, several gloves in the area and that they're maybe not going to prioritize every single one that they find, especially those as far away as Phoenix. Also, I asked the sheriff, do you believe that this is a kidnapping? And he says right now they are still operating under the assumption that it is a kidnapping. He said something like, look, you have a masked guy show up to the home and she's missing. We believe this is a kidnapping, but he also said that they are, you know, looking into all possibilities, that you don't rule anything out. They also said they haven't ruled anyone out. They said so far no single suspect has been deemed not a part of this. Also, the sheriff says that he has talked to Savannah Guthrie, that he has texted with her, that he has talked with her. She has his number, but he said, look, Savannah Guthrie doesn't need to be talking to me. She has her people, but he says the whole family has his number. And as far as the ongoing, you know, reports or suggestions that the FBI and the sheriff are not getting along here, I actually talked to the FBI this morning. They said that they're working together in the command center. You know, they said as far as the synergy in the command center, it is going along well. The sheriff says the same thing. And he goes, look, yes, there are topics that come up. One side will win on one side will win on another. But in general, we are working together well. The sheriff is praising the FBI, calls them good people. He says you can Google what you want, read what you want, but he claims that they are working together well. Now, what happens a lot of times is agents on the ground, you know, perhaps talk to us and they tell us different things. So perhaps that's where that information is coming from. But as far as the lead of the sheriff's office and the FBI itself, they tell us that they're getting along well and they're working together well, John.
Well, let's hope that they are. Hey, real quick, just back to the other DNA found in the house. Did he give you any kind of idea, the sheriff, as to what the nature of that DNA was?
Some of these claims that he's...
Yeah, I did ask. You know, he identifies the blood outside of the house as Nancy's. He said he cannot clarify what the DNA on the inside of the house is, John.
All right, Matt Finn, great reporting. Thanks for bringing that to us, Matt. Appreciate it. Sandra?
All right, let's bring in Randy Sutton now, former Las Vegas Police Department lieutenant who is on the ground for us in Arizona, and David Kennedy, U.S. Marine veteran and former NSA hacker. David, I'll start with you first. What stands out to you in this moment based on what we know and what we've ruled out?
I mean, technology is still continuing to play a big part with the Nest footage, what they're able to do with artificial intelligence and really start to shave in, the features of the individual. There's talks, from law enforcement that they're working on facial reconstruction. Some of the big pieces here is that, the kidnapper actually made a really big mistake by disconnecting that camera. Lawmakers had said, or law enforcement had said, around 1:47 a.m., the camera went offline, which, with Nest, you have about an hour buffer of time before it overwrites itself again. So that's why law enforcement was able to get all of this. And so now they're going through all of the different, locations, looking for different cameras that might have had different angles. This takes a long time to go through all of the different neighbors, asking for information, going through all that information. So it's continuing to work through this process to figure out, hey, can we get additional data to help find out who this individual is? But technology has definitely played a major role with that so far, and they continue to work on that. We're able to get the backpack brand, tracing that back to when those were purchased in different locations, tying that to potentially the glove manufacturer, to the clothes that the individuals were wearing, the shoes they were wearing, and then matching that from a forensics accounting perspective and understanding exactly where it's happening. These are all things that are going to take time, but they're working through very heavily.
Okay, Randy, what stands out the most to you right now?
Well, I'm very happy that the sheriff actually came out and started communicating with the media again. I still take exception with his saying that there was not a mistake made when they released the house. I believe that house should have been sealed. But at least he is communicating. There's a little, we're not getting exactly the same information regarding the cooperation factors, but that's not really an unusual set of circumstances. What information is it that you're getting on that? I'm getting information that there is still some pushback, that there is some consternation on the part of the FBI regarding the cooperation they're getting from the Sheriff's Department.
Got it. David, do tell us your thoughts on what could be happening right now with the feds or otherwise behind the scenes with technology companies or others, and collecting what they have and trying to simulate an image of this person without the mask, and obviously showing the height and the build of the person so that people can be on the lookout for this man wherever he may be.
Imaging software has gotten extremely good, just even in the past 6 months. The ability to, profile an individual, build 3D models of it, to, understand everything from body language to movement, how an individual actually, walks. It can tell a lot about an individual, and then placing that into recognition software from other cameras, looking for those same types of patterns of behavior, are all things that are possible now, and that law enforcement has, at their disposal, most specifically the FBI. They handle these types of cases a lot. Additionally, you also look at, everything from, the Bitcoin ransom, being part of that as well, and tracing that individually. Last time I looked, I have the address for that specific account. And there was just a little bit less than $300 in there. So the ransom, as far as I can tell, has not been paid. But, communication, trying to establish communication technologically has been, one of the things that I know the Guthrie family has been trying to do, working with negotiators and things like that. But a lot of this stuff, being able to piece together all of that does take a little bit of time. And it's really getting camera footage from other individuals that may have seen, which side of the house they came on. It could land from different directions of where they may go to try to isolate and, understand the areas that they're going to be at. Those are all key pieces that law enforcement's actively working on right now, and trying to get more information from the public.
Okay, Randy, Nancy Gray seems to think that finding a vehicle is vital to this investigation. Here she is in further detail.
They're looking at surveillance video, and I think they've seen a gray truck surveilling the home in daytime conditions and nighttime conditions. Why do we need the vehicle? Nancy Guthrie was bleeding, and I don't care how much they clean that vehicle, they're not going to get rid of all the blood. A vehicle makes all the difference. Do I have to say Brian Kohberger? We know the DNA helped the case, cracked the case, but it all started with an ID of an Elantra.
How much weight do you put in that, Randy?
Well, without a doubt, the finding the vehicle would be a critical component, because she's right that there would be evidence in there, DNA